Good evening. Dr. Miaken Zeigler here, and we are talking about a vital topic tonight in regards to sleep, how to get your best night's sleep, why it's so important. These Tuesday night workshops are really valuable because we are diving into topics that support a healthy, vitalistic lifestyle. Even when we talk about a healthy, vitalistic lifestyle, that equates to a healthy immune system. That equates to longevity and anti-aging effects. That equates to moving towards a higher potential. And so sleep is vital. Of course, everyone knows that. But tonight we're going to learn a little bit more about why it is so vital. And before we get into some of the details, I just want to share a few facts with you about sleeping. And this comes from Matthew Walker's book, Why We Sleep. 1.2 million American car crashes are caused by drowsy driving. 1.2. Now, where drunk drivers often are late to react, drowsy drivers don't react at all. So actually driving while drowsy, worse if we're looking at reaction time compared to drunk driving. Sleeping less than 6 hours a night increases risk of heart disease by 300%. It increases your chances of diabetes. And you will feel less full and more hungry when you undersleep. On average, people eat 300 calories more, 10 to 15 pounds gained in a year, and have 40% increase of cravings of sweets. And a lack of sleep increases GI problems by increasing cortisol levels and gets bad bacteria growing in your gut. And that leads me into this first slide of when we get really great sleep, right? Improved sleep means better skin health, more youthful appearance. It means emotional regeneration, better relationships, longevity, decreased risk of stroke, cardiovascular disease, fewer accidents, decreased pain, stronger bones, lower levels of inflammation, enhanced function of immune system, lower risk of cancer and infection, hormonal balance, faster rate of weight loss, lower risk of Alzheimer's disease, cognitive decline, and better memory. When I go through all of these, who doesn't want this? I think we all want it, and we can get improve our health in these ways just by improving our sleep. And so that is why tonight's topic is so important, because I think when it comes to sleep, it's first understanding why it's so important, but also it gives you the why behind the what. So maybe the discipline in creating a routine that makes sure that you get proper amounts of sleep. Okay, so when you sleep, now when you are awake, it's called a catabolic state. And catabolic basically means breaking down. So as we are awake and functioning and doing the things we do on a day-to-day basis, it is a state where our body is breaking down and creating, especially when we look at the brain, creating a lot of excess product that our brain has to clear out. And so when that clearing out happens, that is during our sleep, and that is an anabolic state, and that is where our body is built up. So we are a constant state of breakdown and build up, and where majority of the buildup takes place is sleep. Okay. Sleep is an elevated anabolic state, heightening growth and rejuvenation of immune, skeletal, and muscular systems. It rebuilds and keeps you youthful. So again, when we have lack of sleep, what does our skin look like? Do we have circles under our eyes? Do we have swelling and inflammation that show up just in our appearance? So if we're talking about an anti-aging tool, this is the cheapest thing you can do, and the best thing you can do is get your sleep. So sleep reduction equals brain drain. Your parietal, your prefrontal cortex lose 12 to 14% of their glucose when you don't sleep. Now, glucose, sugar, guess what? Your brain needs fuel to function. So important areas of thinking, distinguishing between ideas, social control, and being able to tell the difference between right and wrong are part of your parietal and your prefrontal cortex. So really important areas. We talk about prefrontal cortex as executive function. And that's where we get into thinking, distinguishing between ideas, executive function of decision-making, goal-oriented tasks. Those reduced by 12 to 14% in terms of nourishment when we're not getting appropriate sleep. So really important that sleep allows us to be in that anabolic state long periods of time for that growth and rejuvenation that takes place. And let's dive into it a little bit further. This is a new system that we didn't know about 20 years ago. It's called your glymphatic system. Really very cool, but it is very specific to the brain, and it is your waste disposal system. That's where this glymphatic system, think about lymphatic system, that is your lymphatic system all throughout the body, moving excess fluid in places to get rid of, gathering infection, dumping it into kidney, urinary, bladder system to get rid of it in the body. Lymphatic system is specific to the brain to dispose of any excess waste created by the brain. And guess what? We create a lot of excess waste cells during the day. So this gets rid of it. And during your sleep is when your glymphatic system is 10 times more active than when you're awake. And this is fascinating. Your brain cells actually reduce by 60% to make this waste removal more efficient. So that gives you an idea of how important this system is to do its job in order for us to better function during the day. Let's get rid of excess waste product so that we can start anew and regenerated at the start of our day, every day. So we've all heard of circadian rhythms, and circadian rhythms are this cycle that we go through. It's a predictable pattern, and it's based off of light and darkness to create this rhythm. And it's built into a 24-hour clock. And it is based off of, there are certain times of day when you have specific hormones present to support what should be going on when it's light and when it's dark, and how that equates to what's going on in your digestive system, what's going on body temperature, how is the blood in your organs regulated, how are you moving. So helps coordinate and control digestion, immune system, blood pressure, fat utilization, appetite, and mental energy. Okay, light is a major factor in your circadian rhythms, and light signals your brains and organs to wake up. So light heavily impacts these the circadian system. Okay. So if I want to make sure I didn't go too far. Okay. So there's really 3 important hormones when it comes to sleep and your circadian rhythm. And those 3, we start with serotonin. You maybe have heard of serotonin as the happiness or well-being hormone. A lot of times when people are dealing with depression and some mental health concerns, really targeting serotonin and wanting to increase serotonin levels. But this is the happiness, well-being hormone, and it is crucial to our internal clock. 95% of our body's serotonin is located in your gut. And if you are plugged in at all to health and wellness right now, you'll know that gut is really important. Maybe you've heard the term microbiome. But if we're talking about immune health, body health, certainly our gut plays a major role. And so if we have any type of chronic stress, we have, challenge with sleep or not getting enough sleep, poor immune function, chances are our gut is involved. And you know, we look at birth in this country. I just gave birth, but a third of births are C-section births, and I'll tell you, traveling through the birth canal is really vital in creating a healthy gut in terms of microbiome and bacteria. And if a baby doesn't travel through that canal, they just don't have the proper microbiome or good bacteria environment at the start of life. And so it can impact trajectory of health and impact immune function and development of a body. So gut is really important, and where we find you know, high amounts of serotonin, an important hormone for sleep. Melatonin, a lot of us have heard of melatonin. We're told, you know, go ahead and take melatonin as a low dose at night to help you sleep. But this is produced by a pineal gland within the brain, and it signals your body to prepare for sleep. And your body secretes this naturally as it gets darker outside. However, we need to get the right light exposure at the right time. Okay, so again, light and dark play a big role in terms of hormone balance, circadian patterns and rhythm to make sure we're getting proper sleep. So melatonin is considered the get good sleep hormone as it improves the quality of your sleep. If you tuned into last week's workshop where we talked about, you know, vital nutrients, hormones, vitamins for immune health, specifically during these COVID times, I touched on melatonin. So melatonin, really important. And then cortisol. I think cortisol sometimes gets a bad rep, you know, in terms of adrenal fatigue and this constant stress response that we're under. We have this cortisol input. But cortisol is an important hormone. It gives you your energy, your gusto to get up and move around in the morning. So it allows you to be awake and alert, and it contributes to strength, focus, and vitality. So it's not bad. It's just when it's being overproduced or underproduced that it creates a challenge and imbalance within the system, as with anything. So all three of these play a role in terms of importance of sleep and quality of sleep. Okay, so let's talk about, there's a circadian rhythm, and that is hugely important in terms of our exposure to lightness and darkness. And there's also a rhythm in terms of the rise and fall of hormones. So naturally you have an increased cortisol in the morning to get up and go, the energy for the purpose of being active, being awake, being productive for what you need to do during the day. So we should see an increase of cortisol, you know, when we wake up. And then as we go throughout the day, we should see a natural reduction of cortisol, and it bottoms out at the evening as we prepare to rest. So when we have that imbalance of rhythm, you've ever felt tired and yet you're wired, right? You lay down and you can't shut your brain off. You're just thinking about every little thing, but exhausted. This is where we've got an imbalance of hormones, and we're in that tired and wired state. So how do we create balance within our circadian rhythms and balance within our hormones? Sunlight. So being exposed to sunlight is crucial to balance that. Sunlight exposure triggers our body to produce optimal levels of daytime hormones, neurotransmitters, including serotonin. And sunlight exposure heavily affects the production and secretion of melatonin. So if we are around the sun all day, right, and then it starts to get dark out, our body is going to better prepare for melatonin production and release, as opposed to if we're not exposed to sun at all. So there's some key factors that you can follow to ensure the best night's rest and balance of your circadian rhythms. Your body is most responsive to sunlight in the morning. specifically between 6 and 8:30. So the best time for you to get up in the morning is between those times, and making sure that you expose, but get outside, whether it's getting outside or, you know, through the windows, to trigger those natural release of those hormones and the rhythm. So between 6 and 8:30, you need to be exposed to sunlight. You need to get up. And direct sunlight for at least 30 minutes every day. Really important. It's also important for vitamin D. Vitamin D production sunlight is the main source of vitamin D. If you wear sunglasses a lot, this can actually inhibit the exposure that your eyes need and can inhibit healthy hormone secretion, which links back to healthy sleep. And the big one is turning off all screens 90 minutes before bed. You guys have heard of blue light. Blue light mimics, you know, sunlight. And so when we are looking at a screen, whether it's our phone, a laptop, an iPad, and we are constantly exposing our eyes to that blue light, it's not going to trigger our body to produce melatonin and really tell our body it's time to prepare for sleep. It's time to shut things down into a more anabolic state so we can rest and recover and rejuvenate from the day. So if we are on a screen, TV, right? We've got a TV in our bedroom, that can also contribute to it. So turning off all screens 90 minutes before bed is going to be or a big factor in contributing to improved sleep. Okay, so getting up at the right time, getting direct sunlight during the day, you know, making sure you're not wearing sunglasses all the time, and then turning off your screen time before bed. So just like there's an important time to get up in the morning, there's also an important time to start wrapping things up and going to bed at night. So around 10 p.m., your body goes through a transformation following a natural rise of your hormone melatonin. Okay. This increases your internal metabolic energy to repair, strengthen, and rejuvenate your body. And here's the thing. You go through REM cycles, predictable sleep patterns, and moving back and forth between deep restorative sleep and a more alert stages and dreaming. Those cycles last 90 minutes, okay? And so here's the thing. If you are waking up in the middle of one of those cycles, you can be really groggy, and number one, you just don't finish the cycle to allow for full restoration and deep rest. And so if you're designing your sleep schedule, number one, you want to go to bed around the right time, understanding there's a natural rise in the hormone melatonin that prepares your body for sleep, but also you want to get the right sleep cycles. So, you know, do the math. You know, if a sleep cycle is 90 minutes, generally most of us are getting between 4 and 6 sleep cycles a night. So if you go to bed at 10 and you go 90 minutes out, 90 minutes out, 90 minutes out, you think, okay, 7.5 hours of sleep. I want 7.5 hours, or do I want, you know, 9 hours of sleep? But you're going to want to wake up at the end of that sleep cycle. So if you're going to bed at 10, you're wanting to get up at, you know, 6:30 or whatever that 90 minutes is for you to end that sleep cycle. So go to bed around 10, wake up before another sleep cycle begins. There is an optimal temperature for you to be sleeping in. That's between 60 and 68 degrees. And then as soon as you wake up, get sunlight, okay? Because that is going to give you the proper exposure to trigger, again, those other hormones, serotonin and cortisol, and again, support a healthy circadian rhythm. So as far as sleep or nutrition goes, these are some of the nutrients highlighted in, I'm taking a lot of this information from a book called Sleep Smarter, okay, by Sean Stevenson. And he talks about these are some of the great nutrition nutrition choices you can make in terms of helping support healthy sleep. And again, as I go through this list, this is nutrition that, you know, transcends just sleep. This is nutrition that supports healthy immune function, healthy gut and microbiome, healthy sleep, healthy musculoskeletal system, healthy brain nervous system, healthy cardiovascular system. So again, these are nutrition guidelines that are really indicative of a healthy lifestyle. But if you do want to be specific to, you know, your sleep nutrition, these are really great options for you. You'll see there's asterisks there: vitamin D, fish oils or omega-3s, prebiotics, probiotics. These are what I consider essential nutrition. So a lot of us aren't getting enough of it in our diet or exposed to it. Vitamin D, we get it through sunlight. So these are things that I think everyone should be consuming on a pretty consistent basis. Again, vitamin C, melatonin, those were highlighted in terms of, you know, proper immune function and support, especially as it relates to the coronavirus. But, you know, again, we need some other nutrition to support the uptake of, say, vitamin D. Magnesium is required for vitamin D to turn it, make it active in the body, and also important for uptake as well as calcium, right? So these all work synergistically with each other. And you can go through this list and see how you're doing in terms of, you know, getting proper nutrition for healthy sleep. Other helpful self-care tips. Here's magnesium. Magnesium is considered the anti-stress mineral. And, you know, one of the best things you can do to really wind down and relax at night is take an Epsom salt bath. Epsom salt, great source of magnesium. If you do have a magnesium deficiency, sometimes that shows up as tight, tense muscles, sore muscles. And so when you take an Epsom salt bath, or you take a magnesium supplement, or use a magnesium cream where you rub it directly on the body, allows the body to directly absorb that magnesium within the salt, and it just puts your body at ease and rest. And so Epsom salts are a great way to create a routine in the evening. I would do 1 to 2 cups of magnesium. You can always add some essential oils, especially if you're talking about nighttime, you want something that's going to relax you. So lavenders are always a good choice. And you're going to soak in that for 20 minutes. The other thing, you're going to want to set a curfew around 2 o'clock if you drink caffeine, whether it comes from a pop or a soda, or it comes from a coffee. Caffeine has a half-life of 5 to 8 hours. So that means that if you're drinking it around, you know, 8 a.m., you're having a cup of coffee, it takes 5 to 8 hours for 50% of that caffeine to leave your system. So, you know, we're talking 10 to 16 hours that it can remain within your system. So if you're drinking coffee or a soda 6 p.m. at night, that can impact your quality of sleep. So, you know, setting that curfew can be really valuable and important. Let's see here. So one thing I did want to show you is I wanted to show you an example of a sleep routine and a waking routine based on some of these guidelines or recommendations that I made through the presentation. And I think every one of us can do this based on, you know, our schedule, what we got going on. And again, there can be some, yeah, it's not always black and white. We can't always stick to something. But if you create something and follow through with it to some degree, it's going to support the healthiest sleep. So this was my routine before baby. And so now I haven't, things are a little different right now, but I haven't revamped this. But again, if you go back to when's the proper wake time, between 6 and 8:30. Okay, so What time should you be getting up? And the best thing you can do is leave your phone or leave your technology out of the bedroom, because I know a lot of us are checking our email or checking things on our phone right away in the morning. We talk about how the internet impacts our brain, how technology impacts our brain and our structure. If we save that for later in our morning, it's going to set us up to be successful and much more productive during the day. So if you can wake up between 6 and 8:30 and be mindful of the choices that you're making in that wake time. In a couple weeks, we are doing a workshop on a miracle morning and how to create your best morning. So in this morning routine, you can start putting in very specific and intentional activities that would be best for you. So I said, okay, between 6 and 6:30, I want to do things that are going to be supportive of my mental health and my physical health. So meditation, journaling, movement. And then I want to give myself 45 minutes to get ready, eat breakfast, and then get out the door so that I arrive at the office by 7:30. Okay, so that should be getting me exposure and triggering proper hormones if I am out the door, between that 7:30, 8:30 time slot. So evening routine, what time am I getting home? What time am I eating dinner? Right? Maybe for you, if you drink coffee or you drink sodas, you put in your day routine, no caffeine, 2 o'clock, done. But what time are you eating dinner? What's the cutoff for? If you drink alcohol, is there a cutoff time? And what is that cutoff time for media or technology screen time? And what can you do in the meantime? And what time do you want to be in bed? Again, based on Sleep Smarter, the best time you can go to bed is around that 10 o'clock hour. But how many cycles do you want? Do you want to get, the 5 cycles of 7.5 hours of sleep? Do you want to get, those 6 cycles of 9 hours of sleep? What is going to be your best bet? So I hope that you found that beneficial. I will tell you, as we're going through these workshops and we're highlighting really important factors as it relates to health, I hope that you're seeing a lot of these, they interlap, or they just blend with each other. Because when we choose a healthy lifestyle, you'll see that eating right, or getting the proper amount of sleep, or moving your body, they all support a healthy, vitalistic ecosystem that is more resilient and more adaptable. And when you start really being preventative in your choices and choosing wellness as a lifestyle, you're going to see and experience things very differently in your body. And you're going to have energy, and you're just going to feel good. But bigger than that, you're going to function. And that's what I want for you. So I hope you found this conversation on sleep beneficial. My challenge to you is create your sleep schedule. What time are you getting up in the morning? What time are you going to bed at night? And what are the activities you want to create in the morning to set yourself up for success, and also in the evening to set yourself up to be prepared and ready for your next day. So appreciate you, grateful to have you a part of the community and doing the things that support a healthy and vitalistic life, because that's what I want for everybody. And I'll leave you with this. Having a baby 6 weeks ago, I'm not getting a lot of sleep. Margot right now is up probably every 3 hours at night to feed. And so when I am consistently my sleep is interrupted at night, how I feel in the mornings and my ability to think and put together sentences, and really be in communication with my husband. There's things that I've said where he says, "What did you say?" or "What does that mean?" And it's, my thought process is very, very different. And so it just has really brought to the forefront the importance of sleep. And so I tell you, when Margot is old enough to, and able to get more sleep, my body cannot wait, because I can feel the difference when I'm not getting my rest. So I want that for you. Sleep for me, because I'm not getting it. So anyway, love and appreciate you guys. I will see you next week, and I look forward to hearing feedback from the things that you're doing to get better sleep. Okay. Till next time.